Hi everyone and welcome to today's live lesson. My name is Emma and I am your teacher today. So if you've been here before, it's really nice to have you all back. I have been looking at the chat and there is a lot of you here today, so hi everyone. And if you are new, then welcome. I really hope you enjoyed today's session. Today's lesson is all about art and specifically Viking art. So I really hope that it's going to be lots of fun. I know I love about anything to do with Vikings and things like that, so it should be good. Right, let me say hello to a few people that are here with us. I know Stan is with us, so hi Stan. And Caitlin, hi Caitlin. Hello to, is it Corinne that's here as well? Hello to, who else have we got here today? Got a few newbies as well. Welcome everyone. It's always nice to have you here with us. Yeah, Corinne, hi. Hi Samuel. And hi Thomas. Okay, so let's have a look at what we're going to be doing today. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to start in a moment or two and just allow a bit more time for people to arrive. And then we will start around 11:10, probably before. And then we will do the input and we'll do some drawing together today. And then children, you'll be able to have some time to do some independent learning and some sketching today on your own. And then hopefully some of you might like to send in some of your learning today. And that is our favourite part of the lesson. We love seeing all of your learning and all of your art. So please do send those in and we'll hopefully be able to show some of those at the end of the lesson. And then we should be finishing around 11:45, if not maybe a little bit before. So let's just have a little look at a question I have for you while I do some reminders for parents. So let me move out the way a minute. Oh, here we go. Okay, so what images come to mind when you think about Vikings? I think we've missed Vikings off our slide here, but what comes to mind when you think about Vikings? Any ideas? Is there anything you know about Vikings already? Maybe tell the person next to you if someone's with you, or let me know in the chat and we can share some of your ideas. So while the kids are thinking about that, parents, just a few reminders for you. So we always encourage that you stay with your children during these sessions, as it's important that they are safe. We also have, I think we've got Becky on the chat today, who is going to moderate and help us out with any questions that you might have. I think I'm buffering a little bit. Can everyone see me? Or has it paused? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me and see me. Hi Carly. Yes, good. Yes, oh good, good. Okay, so yes, reminders for parents then. So as well as being there for your children, we'd love you to get involved as well. In the description box below the video, there are a couple of links. One of those links is to the worksheets, and in that folder you've got the worksheets for today's lesson, but also you have some freebies in there too, which I'll show you a little bit later. But also today we have put a poll up, and I think some of you have already done that poll. We really want to find out what other sessions you'd like to do in the coming weeks. So please do that poll when you've got a moment, and we can definitely try and change our plans to suit what you guys want to do. As with any of our lessons, you can do this lesson with a pencil and a piece of paper. You don't necessarily need to print out the worksheet, so don't worry if you can't do that. So yeah, if you've got a sketch pad even or anything like that, then you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, great for those people who've already done the poll. Okay, right, so what sort of ideas have we had then? What can you think of when you think of Vikings? What things do we already know about Vikings? I think there's one thing in particular that most people think about, maybe something to do with what they wear on their heads. What do you think? Viking horns, that's right. Well done, Corinne. So a lot of people think about those helmets, don't they, with those big horns. But actually, I can tell you that that's an complete myth. They actually never wore horns on their helmets. I don't know where that came from, but it is actually a myth. So there you go, you've learned something new today. Yep, so ships, they used to make longboats, didn't they? They would put together lots of materials to make these amazing longboats. Yeah, so they had swords, they had lots of armour, things like that. Yeah, you're right. So I think it's Bernard has said no Viking helmets had horns. You're right. Okay, cool. Right, so let's move on then. Okay, I'm going to disappear off your screen for a second and I'm going to read what's on the screen and you can read along with me. Okay, so did you think of any of these things? Viking longboats sailing across the seas are a famous Viking scene. Lots of people picture a Viking warrior with a horned helmet, but there is actually no evidence to say that the Vikings' helmets had horns. Also, you can see in that picture that fantastic round shield that they had. And actually, what we can find about the Vikings, things that people have discovered over the years, most of the time those shields, obviously over time, underground, fell apart and eroded. But the one thing that survived is that boss in the middle, that big metal round part of the middle of the shield that actually survived. So there's a lot of those that people have discovered over the years, which gave us an indication of what their shields might have been like and what the shape would have been like. A Viking village had simple houses with thatched roofs. Okay, so did you know some of those things? Right, let's move on to the next page then. So today we're going to be focusing on accurately sketching a Viking dragon head. Where might you have found a dragon head if you were living in the Viking times? Have a little think about that now. What do you think? Where would you have found a dragon head when you were in Viking times? What do you think? Sorry, I'm just having a quick look to make sure everyone can see me. Okay. Right, so lots of people. Stan said on a ship. Yeah, maybe on that longboat that we saw before. Great. Okay, let's find out. Right, let me move out of the way for you. So, the most famous place you would have seen a dragon's head would have been on the prow of a Viking longboat. Viking boats were sometimes known as dragon ships. When the Vikings started invading towns and villages in Britain, the sight of the dragon ships became something to be very afraid of. So can you imagine maybe being on the shore and seeing that dragon head coming towards you? I know I would have been very scared. And I think a lot of us know that the Vikings were particularly stubborn people and loved a good battle as well. So I know I wouldn't want to be anywhere near them if they came to shore. So, what patterns and shapes can you see on this dragon head? Where are the areas of light and shade? What do you think? Have a little think. Yeah, lots of people saying that they would be scared. I agree. Yeah, I can see spots and dots as well. What else can you see? Are there parts of the dragon head that's lighter than other parts? Circles, yeah. It is a ship. Yeah. There are lots of dark and light sort of parts of that. Does anyone know what that would be made of, do you think? What material do you think they used to make those dragon heads? What do you think? Yeah, lots of people saying it would have been made out of wood. That was a readily available material then, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it have been? So they would have chopped down trees to make their longboats. Not like the boats that we have today that are made out of different materials. Okay. So, what patterns and shapes? I'm really sorry, I think some of my slides have missed out some of my words here. But what patterns and shapes can you see on the dragon's head here? And where are the areas of light and shade? Another thing to look at, if you'd like, after this lesson is there is a place called Sutton Hoo, and in Sutton Hoo they did an archaeological dig and they found the skeleton of a longship, a longboat, which is a really interesting thing to look at. So if you fancy doing some more research into Vikings, have a good look at that. Yep, so in the mouth is darker. Good. What about around those scales? Can you see the dark edges of the scales where the light doesn't quite get to, because you can see that that's been carved out, hasn't it? Very intricate, sorry. Yeah, great word to describe it, definitely. We are going to draw, Lisa, don't worry, we'll get there. Okay, so looking at this dragon's head, what patterns and shapes can you see here? And where are the areas of light and shade? What areas of light and shade can you see? This one's a bit different, isn't it, to some of the other ones? This one's got a lot more colour than the ones before. So let's see what people are saying. So yes, there are light is on the scales and eyes. Yeah. Green, golds. The shapes you can you see the oval shape in the eye? And we've got some triangular shapes for the ears. And if you were with us yesterday, we did a lesson on animal art, and we were talking about how important it is to find shapes in the things that we draw first and then put the detail in around it. Okay, so if you were to go and sketch this dragon head, what would be the first thing you would do? How could you be sure to draw it as accurately as possible? What do you think? Where would you start? Okay, so someone's saying that they would start maybe at the back, maybe that back curve. Where would you start? The outline. Okay, Stan says the neck. Okay, so I did have a go at this one earlier. Now, I don't pretend to be an artist, but I think that one thing that we have to do when we are drawing is pay particular attention to what you can see, obviously. Looking really hard at what's there and not actually assuming you can see something. So I attempted very quickly to do a quick outline of this one. And I actually started with just this outline here in the body. And then I started to go back and do some shading there as well. Okay, so the first thing you need to do when you start drawing something is to look at it. And that seems fairly obvious, doesn't it? But of course, when artists are painting something that they can see, they have to look really carefully at all those small details and then try and get that onto paper. So take some time to observe the features, look for areas of light and shade, and think about what shapes and lines have been used. So if you look at this particular dragon, you can see that there's like a hatching marks on the neck, isn't there? Whereas it's smoother over the head. Okay. So most artists will then sketch an outline of the main shapes. It's important to try and get the proportions right. Okay, so think about proportions. What do we mean by that word proportions? Have a little think, maybe tell the person next to you, maybe mum or dad if you're there, or anyone that's with you. What does proportions mean, do you think? Let me know in the chat if you know. Oh, Bernard said that they're bad at proportions. Oh, that's not true. And I said this yesterday, that there's no right or wrong in art. I think a lot of people think that they should be good or it has to be a certain way, but honestly, artists are so free with what they do. And a lot of it's down to your personal style as well. Yeah, Thomas, well done. So getting the size of things right. So if you have a look at the proportions of this dragon head, you wouldn't necessarily have really, really big teeth that were touching each other, because they're not quite, are they? It's got an open mouth, so you wouldn't want those teeth to be too big. Stan, you do know things, don't be silly. Okay, so once you have sketched the main part of your drawing, you can then use shading to bring your drawing to life. Now I have a top tip for you here, which I was thinking about earlier. If you ever look at my picture again and look very carefully at the eye. Now the eye is something that really gives life to a drawing. And my top tip when you're shading in the eye is to think about how light reflects in the eye. So often there might be a few specks of white around the dark, and that almost gives life to that thing that you are drawing. So there's a little top tip there from me. Okay, so we're going to have a go at some shading techniques now. So if you've got a pencil, there are different ways that you can hold a pencil. Right, let's have a look. Oh, here we go. So when you've got your pencil, I've just got this normal pencil, but you might have some shading pencils at home. And we would normally hold this pencil like you would when you are writing, okay, between your finger and your thumb like that. But when you're shading, often it's easier to actually hold the pencil further up. Okay, so if you have a go on your piece of paper and you hold your pencil a bit further away. Also, another trick is that you're not supposed to just move your wrist. You're meant to move your entire forearm when you're doing your sketching. Okay, so if you do it lightly, you get light strokes. And if you need to go darker, then you just put more pressure on your pencil. There is, of course, another way that you can shade, and that's actually holding it like this, which is very tricky, and it's good for when you've got a big space to shade, like that, but otherwise, just holding it normally and further up the pencil is fine. Okay? Right, so have a little practice on your piece of paper. And I'll show you this bit. So one of the most useful shading techniques is simply moving your pencil back and forth but changing the pressure. The harder you press your pencil onto the paper, the darker the shading will be. Okay, page down. So hatching is another useful technique. This involves making small lines to create shade. The more lines you have and the closer together they are, the darker the shading will become. You can also use cross-hatching, which involves creating hatch lines in 2 different directions. So there are different ways of shading there. Okay. So stippling is another pencil technique that involves creating light and shade by using tiny dots. The further away your dots are, the lighter the shade will be. If there are lots of dots close together, the shading will get darker. So stippling can take a long time, but the effects are always really good. So if you want to practice using stippling to create a light dark shade, you can. There is a worksheet on that. So if you would like to have a look at the worksheet, it is this one here. We'll get drawing in a second. So this is the sheet that you can use to practice your shading. So we've got the cross-hatching there and the stippling as well there. Otherwise, you can just do it on a piece of paper like I have. Okay? So when you're shading a whole picture, you can choose just one of these methods to help you create light and shade, or you can use a variety. So the picture on the left is just a normal shading, whereas the picture on the right has got lots of different types of shading, so the stippling, the cross-hatching, and that sort of thing. Okay, so are you ready to try and do your own Viking dragon? So if you have got the worksheet, this one, then you might like to choose one of these dragons to shade. Or at the bottom, let's have a look. This worksheet is really good. So this one shows you, or gives you the outline of the dragon, and then you can have an attempt at shading in using those different shading techniques. So if you have a look here, you can see here that there's almost a cross-hatching technique there that you could use for that part. And then maybe down here it's darker, and then it goes to light. Okay, so there's lots of things that you can do. So I'm going to let you go ahead and start that, and I'll leave that up on the screen here for you to have a go at. Okay? Let's see how you will get on, and make sure to send your learning in if you can. I'd love to see some of the drawings that you've done today. remember, if you'd like to send in your work, then the email to send it into is homelearning@planbee.com. homelearning@planbee.com, and Becky has just put that in the chat for you as well. So if you would like to go off and do some drawing on your own, you can choose any of those different dragons to do. And I might even do some with you. So I started mine earlier. Here we go. So all I've done really at the moment is just the outline. I haven't really shaded my dragon in yet. So if you've done your outline or you've got that sheet, I'm going to start maybe doing some cross-hatching in my dragon picture. And remember the way you hold the pencil. And remember to keep looking up at the picture to help you. How are we getting on, everyone? So you can choose to do whatever worksheet you like, or you can just sketch on a piece of paper. So I'm just doing some of my cross-hatching shading there, if you can see. Okay, so while the children start doing that, parents, if you have any questions at all for us, we're always happy to answer them. So any questions in the chat, or if you've got any questions about maybe home learning or some of our resources, then please do write that in the chat, and either Becky or I will be able to answer those for you. Okay, so I'm going to leave that picture up, and we've got a few other things that I can show you that might be really useful. So along the lines of Vikings and invaders and settlers, we've got a lovely freebie here, which is a Viking word search. So here is the Viking word search. The answers are in the second bit, so don't print that bit out. So you could do that after the lesson if you like. And we also have, if you are a keen drawer and you want to learn a bit more about how to use different techniques to draw, there's this brilliant freebie here that shows you different tips of how to do a self-portrait, which is a really fun little activity that you could do or extend any learning that you have done. So those freebies are already in the link for the worksheets. There's a little folder in there for freebies. So if you want to, you can. No, you do not have to do those things. Of course, it's just an idea for if you would like to. Okay, so how are we getting on with our pictures? Remember to send those in. We'd love to share some of them. Okay, I have got some pictures already. Let's see if we'd like to show some of these. I've got one already. So if you would like your learning to be shown on the screen, make sure you send that into planbee@homelearning.com. So I'll give you a few more minutes and then we'll try and show some of that learning. It'll be great to see it. So So many people in the chat are saying that they are bad at art. You're not. Trust me. Trust me, you are not. I used to feel that way. And it's easy to think that you're not very good at something, but actually, often practice really does make perfect, and using those shapes and things really helped me. If you were with us yesterday, we were doing these animal pictures, and I drew this bird, and I was really happy with myself because normally I'm not that great at drawing, but actually all of those circles and different shapes really helped me to draw that. So do remember to have some faith. Don't put yourselves down, please. I'm sure you're all fantastic. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't look like the one on the sheet. It does not matter at all. Artists look at different things and interpret what they see in different ways. So no picture is ever the same. And that's a good thing. No one wants to be the same as everyone else. So we've got time to share some learning at the end, but that's totally up to you. We've got some coming in now, so I'd love to show them. So let's have a look. Right, we have got Stan here. Oh, Stan, nice to see you. Okay, let me download that for you so we can see it. Here is Stan. Working really hard on his dragon picture. Well done, Stan. And it's nice to see your smiling face. Isn't that lovely? Well done, Stan. I hope to see the finished product eventually. It looks like you're enjoying yourself. That's lovely. Make sure you send these in. I want to see all of this lovely drawing. Okay, Callie. Let's have a look. Callie, were you with us yesterday? Do you love some art? That's great to see. Oh, look at that dragon head. That's fantastic. And I can see that hatching shading that you're trying to do there. That's brilliant. And I love how you've gone darker over the edges of the head there. Just going darker with your pencil around the edge makes it really stand out on the page, doesn't it? And those teeth look fantastic. And you've brought it to life with that eye there. That looks amazing. Well done, Callie. I absolutely love that. That's brilliant. Look hard at work there. Let's see if we've got any others to send in to show. Let's have a look. What have we got here? This is Lola. Let's have a look. Hi, Lola. Look at those. I love how you've done a couple there. And do you know what I can see that you've done? I think you've used your finger to smudge some of that shading, haven't you? And that's another brilliant technique, isn't it? That's fantastic. And I can see that hatching, those hatching marks that you've done there as well. Brilliant. Well done, Lola. That looks absolutely fantastic. I like all those sharp horns at the back as well of your dragon head. Brilliant. How are we getting on, everyone? Okay, we've got some more to show here. I've got some time left, so if you haven't sent in your work yet and you'd like to see it on the screen, it's PlanBee at, no it's not, sorry, homelearning@planbee.com. So Corinne has been doing some shading practice. Fantastic. Let's have a look at hers. Let me see if I can get this on the page for you. I need to turn it around, don't I, really? There we go. So, Corinne's been doing some shading practice and she's been going from dark to light. And you can see where she's been putting more pressure on the pencil at the beginning and then gradually allowing that pressure to come away so that it goes from dark to light. And she's been doing some of that hatching. She started on a bit of stippling there. Well done, Corinne, that's fantastic. I love seeing your learning, it's great. And of course, art takes time as well, so don't feel like you need to rush. You can send in work even if it's not finished. And then you can always go away and have a look at some of these other dragon heads and have a look at see which ones you'd prefer to draw. Amazing shading, well done. Okay, let's see if there's any others to come. Okay, we have got now, who is this? Let's have a look. Okay, we've got some, oh wow, this is amazing. Look at this lovely shading. Now, I'm not sure what your name is. I know Mum has sent this in. So if you did want your name called out, just let me know in the chat who this is by. But this is great. Have a look at that shading that she's done. Really, really sort of made sure that it stands out on the page. I can see those sort of curvy horns there at the back. And that detail around the eye as well. Elise, this is. Well done. Oh, I absolutely love this. I think it's brilliant. Fantastic stuff. Right, let's see if we've got any more to show. Okay, we have got Thomas. Let's see, Thomas, what have you been up to? I try and show as much as I can. Thomas, were you with us yesterday as well? Was it you that drew the cat? The lazy cat, I think you said. Brilliant. Look at that drawing. Oh, Thomas, that's fantastic. And I love that attention to detail with those sort of curly horns. Do you think we'd be scared if we saw that coming towards us to the shore? I think I would be as well. And look, that attention to detail around the eye, some fantastic shading there. Well done, Thomas. Thank you so much for sending that in. And for coming back as well, that's brilliant. Right, we have Lily and Henry. Let me see if I can download this. I love seeing more emails coming in. Okay, let's have a look at Lily and Henry's. So they have chosen to do the entire longboats with the shields and everything, and those dragon heads at the front of the boat. That's amazing. And I can see those different types of hatching there, different shading techniques. They look amazing, guys. Well done. Fantastic drawing. I'm loving the colours as well. Brilliant stuff. Fab. Well done, everyone. Yeah, those longboats look absolutely fantastic, don't they? Let's see if I've got time for any more. We have Ebony. Welcome back, Ebony. Let's have a look at Ebony's picture. I'll turn it around for you. Oh dear, wrong way. There we go. Here we are. So Ebony has had a go at, I think it's that dragon we did before, which looks fantastic. And I can see she's done that cross-hatching there again, that shading. And those teeth, they look great. Well done, Ebony. Thank you so much for sending that in. Great work as always. Okay. have a look. Right, we have got another one from Isabella. Let's have a look, Isabella. So Isabella managed to print out the worksheet there, and she's been doing some fantastic shading. Look at that. Do you know, I love the stippling in the eye, the dots, that's absolutely brilliant. And I think you're another one that's used your finger to smudge out some of that shading. That's fabulous. Well done. Fantastic work. All of these look absolutely amazing. Right. I'm very sorry if you can hear my child in the background crying. Okay, let's see if we've got any more. Ryan. Let's have a look, Ryan. I think there's also one by someone else, so I'll try and get to that in a minute. Right, so Ryan's be doing some shading as well. Let's have a look at Ryan's. Here's Ryan's shading practice. Brilliant. So I can see you've managed to go from dark to light and you've used your pencil in that way. I wonder if anyone found it easier to do it this weird way where you do it upside down almost. And also whether you've been holding your pencil further up. Have you been doing your strokes with your entire forearm and your hand and not just your wrist? They look fantastic, and the stippling as well looks great. Well done, Ryan, that's brilliant. I think I've got time for one or two more really quickly. Let's have a look. So we have got Stan and Connie. Let's have a look at yours. Here's Stan's. Look at that brilliant, hang on, I'm in the way, so I'm just going to move this over here so you can see. But look at this amazing hatching that you've done there, Stan. I absolutely love the shading. And there's lots of attention to detail, and I think you've done that stippling on the ear, which is really cool. Well done, Stan, that looks fantastic. Let's quickly look at Connie's. Here's Connie's. Oh, well done, Connie. I can see that you really tried hard to do that shading, haven't you? And I think you've done some sort of cross-hatching as well at the bottom. That's lovely, Connie. Well done. Fantastic. Right, I'm going to very quickly show one more because I missed one. And it's by Natalia. I try and get as many in as possible before we have to finish. I've got a minute or two left. So here is Natalia's, and I think she's another one that's used her finger to help her sort of shading and smudge all that pencil work. Well done. And I can see your cross-hatching, and I love how dark and brilliant that eye is as well. That's lovely. I wonder who's going to be doing some more drawing this afternoon of dragon heads. They look fantastic. Remember, on the worksheet you've got all of these different ones to choose from. So if you fancy doing some more sketching this afternoon, and it doesn't have to be just the dragon head, you could do the whole longboat as well, like some of the other kids did. Okay, fabulous. Oh, sorry. So, I think we'll have to end it there, but I really enjoyed this session and I really hope you did too. And if you didn't get any work sent in today and you want to send those in, then please do, and we'll try and share them at another time. But I really enjoyed today and I hope you have a lovely day. Right, thank you very much everyone. Take care. Bye.